MCU is the most successful film franchise of all time. Perhaps nothing has changed the landscape of film and pop culture in so short a time, so that means it's totally fine to talk about all the crazy mistakes they've made along the way. The first Thor movie made a huge flex when it revealed the complete Infinity Gauntlet in Odin's treasure chest. This was very quickly retconned when it was revealed that most of the MCU movies would revolve around the gathering of the Infinity Stones by the agents of Thanos. Then it was retconned more when Hela showed that it was just a fake. So Odin really likes to keep fake recreations of weapons that don't yet exist? Well, everybody needs a hobby, I guess. Marvel is well known for seeding their films with a ton of references and hints for them to pay off later. The only problem is that sometimes these payoffs never actually happen.
Next time, baby.
That is exactly the case with cosmic Marvel hero Adam Warlock's cocoon in the Collector's Collection. While that seemed like Warlock, Gunn later retconned his real cocoon into Guardians 2. Man, the Collector's gonna be really mad when it opens up and it's just a normal space slug or something. The Sony-Marvel relationship has been very rocky. For a while there, it seemed like Tom Holland's Spidey would no longer feature in the MCU. I'm still unclear on whether Venom is supposed to be in it either. Perhaps the biggest mistake in the partnership is the bizarre time skip in the opening moments of the film. Somehow, this film thinks that the Avengers happened like 8 years before Civil War? Either somebody messed up in the writer's room, or Marvel owes us 6 more Avengers movies with the core cast. I mean, I'd be cool with that, wouldn't you? We didn't know how good we had it with those glorious Stan Lee cameos. The late comic book creator's perfectly timed one-liners never failed to land a solid joke or reference. Perhaps the best one was in Guardians 2 when Stan was shown talking to the Watcher. This seemingly confirms a fan theory that Lee was a Watcher himself, and that's why he was in every movie. The only problem is that the line he references in the scene was from Civil War, which takes place after Guardians 2. Well, maybe Stan Lee's a time traveler as well. I mean, if he can jump between Marvel universes, what does time travel matter? In Guardians of the Galaxy, it's revealed that Gamora is the last of her kind because of, well, Thanos. This provides a cool origin, but it gets retconned later when we see that Thanos only obliterated half of her people. According to him, the planet is now thriving with life now that the overpopulation problem was solved. See, Gamora, he's not that bad. He only destroyed half your people. Well, okay, maybe that is still pretty bad. Especially if her family was in the bad half. Marvel just can't seem to decide on how evil Loki is. The character's popularity due to Tom Hiddleston's amazing performance has really thrown a wrench into several plans for the character. At first, he was an evil, jealous brother, then a conqueror, then a reformed hero, then a conqueror again, and then comic relief, then Thanos' stress ball, and finally a time-traveling thief. He was at his most evil in the Avengers when he led an army to conquer Earth and failed in a dramatic fashion. Only apparently he wasn't that evil. It was confirmed that Loki, like Hawkeye, was under the effects of the Mind Stone. That would explain why he was so sweaty and tired throughout the film. If you've only watched the Iron Man films, you might not know that the Mandarin is actually Tony's arch-nemesis. And that is because the Mandarin in Iron Man 3 was actually an actor used to manipulate world events. This seemed disappointing for fans of the character, but apparently the real Mandarin is out there, and he's angry at Trevor Slattery. Well, buckle up because the real Mandarin will appear in Shang-Chi. Will he get his final revenge on Trevor? I guess we'll find out. The Incredible Hulk is definitely the most underloved of the MCU films. Nearly everything about it, from its villains to its lead actors, were dropped from the extended franchise. The MCU wisely decided to steer clear of this craziness, but kept William Hurt's Thunderbolt Ross and that glorious, glorious mustache of his. So, now that Thanos has completed his arc, and it was awesome, we can admit that Marvel had no idea what they were doing with those Thanos teases. I mean, the guy went through like 4 different looks before they got to the Infinity War one. One of the biggest inconsistencies came in Age of Ultron, when Thanos took out the Infinity Gauntlet. The same gauntlet that didn't exist yet because Eitri hadn't made it yet. I think the first Thor doesn't get enough love. It's a different kind of superhero movie that tells an intimate story about a god who learns the value of the humility of a man. You know what doesn't get enough hate though? Thor's crazy blonde eyebrows. Apparently this was all Kevin Feige's doing, and he is deeply sorry for it. You just stick to producing massively successful interconnected film franchises. Leave the eyebrow stuff to somebody else. And there you have it, all of the MCU's biggest mistakes even they admitted to. But come on, after over 20 movies, they were bound to make a couple. Were there any good ones that you missed?